You didn't arrive here by accident. You pressed play because something in you is ready for a shift, fast, clean, undeniable. And whether you call it intuition, divine timing, or the quiet pull of your future self, the moment you're in right now is a doorway. A doorway into one of Neville's most powerful teachings, the truth that your entire financial reality can change in seconds the moment you accept a new inner state. So take a breath. Let it come in slowly and let it fall away just as slowly. Feel the subtle recognition that you're stepping into a different chapter of your life. Today, you learn the 11-second money shift, a short, potent technique based on Neville Goddard's core principle. A single imaginal flash held with sincerity changes everything. You've probably had moments, even tiny ones, where you sense that reality responds quickly when your inner state becomes clear. Moments when something you desired seemed to appear out of nowhere, as if the universe had been waiting for you to align. Neville would say it wasn't coincidence. It was inner causation finally expressed. And now, here you are, ready to practice this causation deliberately. Before we enter the full practice, you need one thing: permission. Permission to drop the story that money takes time, effort, or struggle. Permission to no longer identify yourself as someone who hopes for financial relief, but as someone who already lives in financial sufficiency. You're not becoming abundant. You are letting yourself notice that abundance has been waiting at the door. Let yourself hear this clearly. If you're listening to this now, it's because the version of you who already receives money with ease is calling you forward. And before we go deeper, place a gentle intention in your mind. For the next hour, I am practicing the fastest shift Neville ever hinted at, the shift into the state of already having. Now, a quick pause for something important. If this message is resonating with you, like this video so the algorithm sends it to more people who need this exact shift. And if you want to support the depth of this work permanently, become a channel member. You unlock exclusive practices that help you stabilize this new identity. Now return to yourself, to the quiet, to the simple awareness that something within you is already relaxing, already opening, already reorganizing. Neville taught that imagination is not a tool, but the core of your being. It creates reality long before you see the evidence. And when you hold a state clearly, even for a few seconds, you rewrite what tomorrow can hold. This is why the 11-second shift works, because it doesn't ask you to force emotion. It doesn't require hours of visualization. It doesn't demand faith you don't have. It only asks one thing: assume the state of the wish fulfilled for 11 uninterrupted seconds, not the state of wanting money, not the state of needing money, not the state of waiting for money, but the state of already being someone whose money has arrived. Feel the difference. It's subtle but unmistakable. Neville called this a flash, a moment where you collapse the distance between desire and fulfillment. A moment where you abandon the old self who hoped and step into the new self who has. And in that flash, reality obeys. I want you to treat this hour as an initiation, a shift from living reactively to living creatively, from thinking of money as something external to recognizing it as something that flows from your identity. As you move through this practice, your logical mind may try to interrupt. It may whisper doubts. It may try to pull you back into the familiar. That's normal. The familiar always resists the new. But you don't need to fight your mind. You only need to return to the state, gently, like returning to a warm room after stepping briefly into the cold. This chapter is your threshold. The moment you step over it, the old assumptions no longer rule you. You're training your mind to respond to a new identity, one Neville would call the inner man. The you who knows the truth before evidence appears. And now, place this thought softly into your awareness. I am entering the 11-second shift today, and my financial world will not remain the same. Not as a hope, not as a wish, but as a declaration from the self who knows. Before we continue, one more gentle nudge. If something inside you is already shifting, subscribe to the channel so you don't lose this momentum. Let this be the beginning of a deeper journey. Now breathe again. Slow, steady, receptive. You're ready for the next step, learning the mechanics behind this technique and how Neville intended you to use the imaginal flash. You're entering a deeper layer now. The surface mind begins to quiet. The old assumptions begin to loosen, and you're starting to sense something that Neville repeated over and over: the gap between here and there, between I want and I have, is an illusion constructed entirely in imagination. Once the state changes, reality must follow. It has no choice. So let this chapter be your turning point. The moment you finally understand the mechanism behind fast shifts, the same mechanism that makes the 11-second practice powerful, repeatable, and shockingly effective. Neville used a word many people overlook: flash. Not a long meditation, not a deep trance, a flash, a brief imaginal spark where you accept the end result as already true. A flash is not forced. A flash is not dramatic. A flash does not beg or plead. A flash simply lands. It settles into you like recognition, not effort. When Neville spoke of imagining for a few seconds and then dropping it, he wasn't suggesting that consistency doesn't matter. He was pointing to a different truth. It takes only a moment of fully assumed identity to plant a seed powerful enough to alter the trajectory of your life. You're about to learn how to generate that moment. But before we go further, I want to bring your attention to something subtle. As you listen, notice how your inner space begins to expand. Notice how you're becoming slightly more aware of your own being, not your thoughts, not your circumstances, but the silent I am behind everything. This awareness is the canvas on which the imaginal flash will imprint itself. That's why this works, not because of words, not because of wishful thinking, but because identity precedes experience. And for 11 seconds, you're going to embody a new identity so cleanly that reality reorganizes itself around it. Now, listen carefully. There's a reason money is the focus of this practice. Money triggers old stories faster than almost anything else. It pulls up memories of scarcity, responsibility, pressure, expectations, guilt, and survival. Neville knew the subject that activates your deepest assumptions is the subject where your imagination has the most power, because shifting that assumption generates immediate external effect. Money is not the problem. The assumptions tied to it are. But those assumptions are not fixed. You created them, which means you can dissolve them, and you will dissolve them today through the simplest of mechanisms, a moment of assumed fulfillment. Let's clarify something essential. The 11-second shift is not about visualizing money. It's about embodying the version of you who already has it. There's a difference between imagining money and imagining from the self who already received it. One is wishful, the other is creative. The first reinforces distance, the second collapses it instantly. In a moment, you'll practice shifting into the identity of the one whose financial reality is complete. When you practice this, your nervous system registers the state as real. Your imagination stamps it into being, and the world begins to conform. This is not metaphoric, this is not symbolic, this is literal consciousness mechanics. Neville said, "Dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." And when he said dare, he meant that you must step beyond the logical mind, beyond the old patterns, beyond the identity that memorized your limitations. For 11 seconds, you bypass all of it. Now, before we enter the deeper explanation, take one breath, slow and deliberate, not dramatic, just intentional. The kind of breath that signals, I am paying attention. Good. Here's what actually happens in the 11-second flash. 1. You drop the state of wanting. Wanting carries tension. You can feel it even now if you check. Wanting says, I'm not there yet. That state creates delay. 2. You shift into the state of already having. This is quiet, peaceful, grounded. It's the same inner tone you feel after something good has already happened. The relief, the simplicity, the certainty. 3. For 11 seconds you hold this inner tone with sincerity. Not force, not intensity, just sincerity. A natural acceptance that says, this is already mine. 4. You release the state gently, knowing the seed is planted. No checking, no looking for signs. The shift itself is enough. You'll notice something interesting. The logical mind cannot hold its objections for long. 11 seconds is too quick for the old identity to react. That's why this works for people who struggle with long visualizations or deep emotional techniques. You don't need long, you just need clarity. Now let me speak directly to you, the one listening. Your financial story is not the sum of your past. Your financial identity is not defined by what has happened. Your future is not tied to logic, circumstance, or probability. Your future bends to imagination. It always has. It always will. And starting today, it bends quickly. Before we move into the guided mechanics, take a moment to honor yourself for being here. You are doing something rare. Most people react to their lives. You are choosing to create yours. And if this resonates, if you feel something shifting even now, take a moment to like this video. It helps keep this work alive. And if you want to go deeper, to stabilize this identity consistently, subscribe so you don't drift back into old patterns. Now turn your awareness inward for a moment. Notice the stillness, notice the space, notice the subtle recognition arising. I can change my reality in seconds. That awareness is the beginning of mastery. In the next chapter, you will enter the full guided practice of the 11-second shift. You will count, breathe, accept, and step into the identity of financial completion with clarity. The technique is simple, the effect is profound, and you're ready. You've understood the mechanics. You've begun loosening the grip of the old assumptions. Now you're ready to step into the actual practice, the first real descent into the state of financial completion. This chapter is where the shift stops being an idea and becomes an experience. It's where your inner world takes the lead and your external world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. But before the technique begins, I want you to understand something important. This practice does not work because the words are special or because the sequence is mystical. It works because you are the operant power. You are the cause, not the effect. When you shift your inner identity, the world responds as a mirror, not a master. So give yourself permission to take this seriously, not with tension, but with sincerity. Sincerity is the engine of imagination. It communicates to your consciousness that the assumption you're choosing is true right now, without resistance. Now take a slow, natural breath, not deep, not forced, just steady. And as you breathe out, allow your attention to drop a little lower into yourself, as if settling into a quieter, more spacious part of your being. This inner descent is the preparation. It's you stepping away from the noise of your surface thoughts and into the place where creation actually happens. Good. Now the practice begins. You're going to follow 3 simple components: breath, acceptance, and identity. Each of them contributes to the inner shift, and each is essential. First, the breath, not for relaxation, not for calm, but for presence. Presence is the doorway to imagination. You cannot assume the end if your mind is scattered. So each cycle will begin with a single breath that signals your willingness to shift. Second, acceptance. This is where the flash happens, the acceptance of the end as already real. Not, I hope it's coming. Not, I'm trying to feel it. But it is done. Acceptance is the most powerful state you can enter because it bypasses every layer of psychological resistance. Third, identity. This is the heart of Neville's work. The version of you who already has financial ease is not separate from you. It is you waiting to be chosen. When you step into that identity, even briefly, you override years of old assumptions. And when the new identity becomes familiar, the world conforms. Now you're ready for the full cycle. This is your first official 11-second shift. Listen carefully. At the start of each cycle, you will breathe in gently for a count of 4, hold the breath for 1, and exhale for 4. This is not breath work. It is simply a way of focusing your awareness so the state has somewhere to land. Then, for exactly 11 seconds, you will accept one simple truth. Money has already arrived for you. Not is arriving, not will arrive, already arrived. That's the key, the door. The entire mechanism condensed into a single inner knowing. You are not imagining cash in your hands. You are not visualizing a scene of celebration. You are not constructing details. You are simply stepping into a version of yourself whose money is handled. Feel the difference. One is visualization, the other is identity. Identity is what creates. Now I'll walk you through the first cycle slowly. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And now, without effort, accept this truth. You already received money. It is done. Your financial situation is complete. Hold that inner tone. Not the emotion, just the tone. The quiet recognition that comes after something good has already happened. For the next 11 seconds, step into the version of you whose money is solved. The one who has already received. The one who doesn't need to check or wonder. The one who exists in certainty. Begin the count internally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let the state dissolve gently. You don't need to cling to it. You've already planted the seed. This is the flash. It's subtle. It's quiet. It's powerful. You may have felt something shift, perhaps a softening, a lightness, a sense of immediacy, or maybe it felt neutral, effortless, simple. That's perfect. Neville said the real shifts often feel natural because they align with your deeper self. You're not creating something new. You're remembering a version of you that has been waiting. Now we move to cycle 2. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. If this practice is resonating with you, like the video. It helps more people discover these teachings, and it tells the algorithm that this work matters. Now again, breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And now accept the truth. Your money has arrived. Your needs are met. You are financially held. Let the identity settle into you, even if it's only a whisper. You're not forcing belief, you're choosing perspective. For 11 seconds, let the state be true. Count internally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release the state softly. This is how identity is rewritten. Small, sincere repetitions that imprint the subconscious. Now, cycle 3. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And accept. You are now the person who consistently receives money, expected and unexpected, easily and naturally. Hold it for 11 seconds. Count if you like, or simply remain in the inner posture of already having. Let it settle and gently release. With each cycle, the inner friction dissolves. With each cycle, your nervous system adapts. With each cycle, you become more familiar with the identity of someone whose money is handled. This is the essence of the practice. Before you move to the next chapter, the long sequence of repeated cycles, I want to place a gentle reminder. Subscribe to the channel so you don't lose access to practices that reinforce this identity. Consistency shapes reality. You've completed your first descent into the state. You've crossed the threshold. You've touched the state. Now you enter the heart of this journey, the long immersion, the continuous practice, the steady pulse of identity rewriting itself with each 11-second shift. This chapter is different. It's slower, deeper, more rhythmic. You're not learning anymore, you're becoming. Neville said that repetition is not about forcing the mind, but about familiarizing the inner self with a new assumption until it becomes natural. And once it becomes natural, it becomes inevitable. So in this chapter, you will cycle repeatedly into the identity of someone whose financial world is already resolved. Your only job is to relax into the flash over and over, not with effort, but with surrender. Take a breath, steady, quiet. Let it signal the beginning of the descent. Good. Now, listen closely. Every cycle begins the same way. A breath that focuses your awareness, a moment of acceptance, an 11-second embodiment of the fulfilled state, a gentle release. And then you do it again, and again, and again, not to force manifestation, but to dissolve every old layer of identity that once said you couldn't have what is already yours. Let's begin. Cycle 1. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Now accept this truth. Money has already come to you. The situation is solved. You are no longer waiting. For 11 seconds, step into the version of yourself who knows this completely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. You're already shifting. Cycle 2. Breathe in, 2, 3 at 4. Hold, exhale. Now quietly accept. Your financial life is handled. Everything you needed has shown up right on time. Hold the identity for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release again. Notice the subtle ease beginning to rise. Cycle 3. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. Now step into the inner truth. You are financially supported. Money flows to you without resistance. Hold the state. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let the state dissolve softly. This repetition is working beneath the surface. Cycle 4. Breathe in, hold, exhale. Now accept. You have become someone who receives money frequently, naturally, repeatedly. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. Something deeper is unlocking. Before we continue, a gentle reminder. If this practice is opening something inside you, like the video, it may seem like a small gesture, but it helps this message reach people who desperately need it. Now, return to yourself. Cycle 5. Breathe in, hold, exhale. Now quietly acknowledge, your money is secure, your needs are met, your path is supported. Hold the state. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. You're doing perfectly. Cycle 6. Breathe in, hold, exhale. Accept this truth. You receive money from expected and unexpected sources. It comes with ease. It arrives with flow. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let go gently. Cycle 7. Breathe in, hold, exhale. Step into this identity. You are financially magnetic. Opportunities come to you. Support comes to you. Money comes to you. Hold the state for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. Feel the new identity beginning to stabilize. Cycle 8. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Now accept a deeper truth. Your financial breakthrough has already happened. You are living from the result, not striving toward it. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. You're sinking fully into the self who has. Cycle 9. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Accept. Money moves toward you because your state invites it. You are aligned with abundance. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let go. Every repetition strengthens the new identity. Cycle 10. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Now assume your financial world is expanding. Your bank account grows. Your capacity grows. Your ease grows. Hold the state. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. This identity is becoming familiar now. Cycle 11. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Accept. Abundance is normal for you. Receiving is normal for you. Being financially at peace is normal for you. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. You are embodying the fulfilled self more easily now. Cycle 12. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Now allow this truth to land. Money is not after you. It is with you. It arrives in your life with precision. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. Beautiful. Cycle 13. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Accept. You live in a state of already having. You think from the end. You feel from the end. You move from the end. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. Your subconscious is absorbing every repetition. Cycle 14. Breathe in, hold, exhale. Now assume your financial identity has changed. You no longer struggle. You no longer chase. You receive. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. You're doing exactly what Neville taught, assuming the end repeatedly until it becomes natural. Before the final cycle of this chapter, a gentle reminder. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of these deep identity restructuring practices. This work changes lives when done consistently. Now the final cycle. Cycle 15. Breathe in, hold, exhale, and accept the deepest truth of all. You are already the person who receives money easily, frequently, and endlessly. This is who you are now. This is your identity. This is your state. Hold for 11 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Release. This chapter completes the 10-minute descent. You are no longer practicing the state. You are beginning to live in it. You've repeated the cycles. You've stepped into the state again and again. Now, something subtle but unmistakable has happened. The version of you who has is beginning to feel more real than the version of you who wants. This chapter is where everything fuses together, where the identity takes form, where the shift becomes a lived experience instead of a momentary flash, and where you begin imagining from the end, not as fantasy, but as a memory your consciousness already holds. Neville said that assuming the wish fulfilled means thinking from the state, not of it. Of is distance, from is embodiment, and when you imagine from the end, the world moves to match it. So in this chapter, you will walk through scenarios, not exaggerated fantasies, not forced emotional scenes, but soft, imaginal impressions of a life where money is handled. These scenarios aren't goals. They're confirmations, signals from the version of you who already lives in this reality. Take a slow breath. Let it settle. Let it carry you deeper into yourself. You're not preparing for the state anymore. You're operating from it. The first integration. Relief already felt. Imagine this softly. Not as a mental movie, but as a felt recognition, something that used to worry you financially. Doesn't anymore. It could be a bill, a responsibility, a need, a lingering pressure. Now imagine the feeling, not the image, of it being handled. The phone call that used to tighten your chest? Solved. The deadline that used to make you anxious? Met. The account that used to feel fragile? Stable. Don't strain to see anything. Don't force a picture. Just let the tone of completion wash through you. This is imagining from the end. Not seeing it, being it. Hold that feeling softly, like you're remembering something that happened earlier today. Not dramatic, just true. Good. Release it gently. You just stepped into financial sufficiency with no resistance. Second integration. A simple exchange. Now imagine something even simpler. A conversation where you feel financially calm. Someone asks you a question, maybe about a payment, a plan, an opportunity, or a commitment, and for the first time, you respond with ease. Feel that. The absence of tension, the grounded tone of your internal response. You're not pretending, you're not stretching, you're not hoping. You're answering from the identity of someone whose money is handled. Imagine saying something like, "It's taken care of," or "No rush, I'm good," or "Everything's flowing perfectly." Let the words form naturally. Let the tone be effortless. Let the identity speak through you. Hold that for a few seconds. Good. Release it. You're internalizing the new state. Third integration. A moment of overflow. Now we move into expansion. Not fantasy, but overflow. Imagine this. You check something. An account, a balance, a message, a notification, and instead of fear, you feel a quiet sense of more than enough. Again, don't visualize numbers. Just feel the inner recognition of abundance, the soft awareness. I'm supported. I'm covered. I have room to breathe. I am financially safe. Let the identity settle deeper. This is not imagining wealth. This is assuming stability. There's a difference. Stability is the state that attracts wealth naturally. Wealth grows from inner sufficiency, not inner panic. Hold it and gently release. Before we continue, a quiet reminder. If you're feeling this integration working, like the video so the algorithm knows content like this should keep reaching you. Now return, deeper, softer, more receptive. Fourth integration. A day without money. Fear. Imagine waking up, and for the first time in a long time, money is not the first thing on your mind. Feel that spaciousness, that mental quiet, that sense of freedom. You're not calculating, you're not worrying, you're not anticipating problems. Your inner world is clear. This is the identity of someone who receives with ease, someone whose subconscious no longer monitors survival. Someone whose nervous system trusts the flow of abundance. Let yourself stand in that version of you for a moment longer. Notice the difference. Notice how natural it feels. Notice how familiar it's becoming. And release. Fifth integration. The expected and the unexpected. Neville taught that your assumptions determine not only what happens, but how it happens. So in this integration, imagine, not with visuals, but with tone, the experience of receiving money from both expected and unexpected sources. Expected money feels orderly, planned, predictable. Unexpected money feels surprising, delightful, synchronistic. Imagine both as already occurring, already normal, already part of your rhythm, not occasionally, not rarely, but consistently. Feel the identity of someone who says, "Of course money came in today. Yes, it happens all the time. I'm used to this now." No emotion forced, just recognition. Hold it softly. Let the identity imprint itself. Good. Release. Sixth integration. The self who no longer checks. This is a powerful one. Imagine the version of you who no longer checks your finances out of fear. You check out of curiosity. You check out of neutrality. You check out of confidence. Feel the shift from desperation to detachment. You're not watching your money. Your money flows to you. Let that settle. This is the identity Neville pointed to when he said you must go to the end and dwell there. Hold the tone for a moment, then gently release. Seventh integration. The new normal. Now we bring all the integrations together. Imagine this simple truth. You trust money now. Money trusts you. There is no tension in the relationship anymore. Feel that. Let it soften you. Let it ground you. Let it become your new normal. Not a dream, not a goal, not a desire, a state. Your state. You are now the person who receives easily, frequently, and with consistency. Not because you repeated a technique, but because you assumed an identity. Hold this recognition for a few seconds. Feel the truth of it, and release gently. Before we close this chapter, a quiet nudge. If you want to deepen this identity on a daily basis, become a channel member for access to exclusive Neville-based guided sessions that reinforce this inner shift. Now, you've completed the integration. You've walked inside the reality where your financial world is already resolved, and you've done it from the state of the wish fulfilled, not striving, but being. In the next chapter, you'll experience the crescendo, the overflow state Neville hinted at, but rarely described explicitly. A state where abundance not only meets your needs, but exceeds them. You've entered the state of completion. You've practiced the 11-second flash. You've integrated the identity of someone whose financial world is already resolved. Now you step into something even higher. A state Neville rarely described directly, but one woven through all his teachings. The state of overflow. Overflow is not about excess or extravagance. Overflow is the quiet recognition that you are supplied at a level that exceeds your needs, your expectations, and even your previous imagination. It is the state where you stop asking and you start accepting. Where you stop waiting and you start receiving. Where you stop imagining relief and you begin imagining expansion. This chapter is not about imagining wealth in a superficial way. It's about stepping into the identity of someone who receives effortlessly, because receiving has become your natural state. Take a slow breath, not to relax, but to soften, to open the door to the version of you who lives in overflow. Overflow begins as a tone, not a vision. Most people imagine overflow as big, loud, dramatic, but overflow begins quietly, as an inner tone that whispers, "There is more than enough for me, always." Feel that, not as an affirmation, as a truth. Overflow is not a scene you visualize. It's not a check in the mail. It's not a number in your account. Overflow is a state of being where you expect provision, where you assume support, where you feel naturally expanded. And the moment you embody this state, your world reorganizes to reflect it. You're not forcing reality to respond. You are allowing it to match the identity you now occupy. This is overflow. Stepping into the identity of someone who receives easily. Now imagine this in the softest, most natural way. You are the kind of person who money moves toward, not occasionally, not rarely, but consistently. People think of you as someone who has opportunities, someone who is supported, someone who always seems to receive exactly what they need and more. You're not trying to be this person. You're remembering that you are this person. Feel that inner recognition. I am a natural receiver. Money flows to me because my state invites it. Let this be your truth, even if only for this moment. Overflow begins here. Receiving more than enough. Now, imagine, again, without images, the feeling of having more than enough, the feeling of expansion, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're covered far beyond necessity. Feel the difference between I have enough and I have more than enough. Enough is survival. Overflow is creation. Enough is stability. Overflow is freedom. Enough is relief. Overflow is expression. You are stepping into the version of yourself who can finally breathe deeply, move confidently, and think expansively, because the weight of survival is no longer on your shoulders. Hold that tone. Let it saturate your awareness. Let it become familiar, then release it gently. the identity of abundance, that self-perpetuates overflow, creates momentum, it compounds, it builds upon itself. Neville often hinted at this when he said that your assumptions attract more of themselves. When you assume scarcity, scarcity follows. When you assume stability, stability appears. When you assume abundance, abundance grows. But when you assume overflow, the state begins to feed itself. It becomes a loop of receiving. So now imagine this tone. I'm someone who always ends up with more than I expected. Feel how that identity expands inside you, how it makes room in your chest, how it creates warmth in your mind, how it softens your shoulders, how it steadies your breath. This is overflow becoming natural. Hold the tone and let it dissolve. Overflow in ordinary moments. Overflow is not loud. It shows up in the ordinary moments. Imagine this. You open something, a message, a statement, a notification, and instead of bracing for bad news, you feel curiosity, maybe even anticipation, because your experience has taught you something new. Good things show up for you now. Money finds you. Opportunities land for you. Support appears before you need it. You live in a state where what comes in surpasses what goes out, not occasionally, consistently. Let that feeling settle in your body, quiet, spacious, grounded. You're not hoping for overflow. You're stepping into it. Before we continue, a gentle nudge. If this shift is rising inside you, like this video, small actions anchor the state. And if you want to support these teachings, consider becoming a channel member. Your support keeps this work alive. Now we return. Overflow as your new financial identity. Now imagine this shift, gently. You don't think about money the way you used to. The urgency is gone. The fear is gone. The strain is gone. Your inner baseline has changed. You've become someone who expects good news. Someone who expects flow. Someone who expects increase. You've stopped living from lack. You've started living from fullness. Overflow is not something you visualize. It is something you remember, something you allow, something you choose. You don't reach for it, you assume it. And what you assume, you experience. Hold that identity for a moment and release. Overflow as natural, not exceptional. Now step into the final layer. Overflow is normal to you, not rare, not lucky, not a miracle, normal. People around you may notice something has changed. Your presence feels different. Your energy feels grounded. Your decisions feel clear. Why? Because overflow is not about money. Overflow is about identity. It's the identity of someone who trusts their inner power so deeply that the external world has no choice but to deliver. Neville said, "Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live." You have changed your conception. You are living from overflow. Hold this truth. I live in a constant state of financial overflow. The more I receive, the more comes. Let the words settle, not as affirmations, but as recognition. This is who you are now. This is your new baseline. This is your new identity. Hold it, feel it, let it expand, and release gently. You've completed the crescendo. You've stepped into the state Neville implied, the state where receiving is natural, where money is effortless, where overflow is your normal. In the final chapter, you'll receive the recap, the grounding, and the closing loop that locks this identity into your subconscious for the rest of the day. You've moved through the shift. You've entered the state of completion. You've integrated the identity. You've risen into overflow. Now you stand at the edge of something new, not an ending, but a return to your life as a different version of yourself, a quieter version, a more open version, a version that no longer waits for money, but receives it. In this final chapter, you're going to gently anchor everything you've experienced, not by holding on tightly, but by letting it become the background of your being, the inner atmosphere you carry into your day. Take a slow, simple breath, not deep, not dramatic, just comfortable. Let the breath remind you that you're still here, still present, still connected to the new identity you've stepped into. Good. Now we begin the closing loop. The state is now your baseline. Let yourself acknowledge something quietly. You don't feel like the person who pressed play at the beginning of this session. Something has softened, something has opened, something has shifted. This change might feel immense, or it might feel gentle, like the subtle rearrangement of an inner hinge. But either way, you can sense it. You're no longer someone who hopes for financial ease. You're someone who receives it. Let that truth sit inside you, not loudly, just naturally. Neville said that the real transformation happens when the new state becomes your dwelling place, the home your imagination returns to without effort. And that's what's happening right now. The identity of the fulfilled self is settling into you as something familiar, something lived, something true. You're not forcing the state. You're resting in it. This is mastery, the subtle confidence of the one who has now feel this tone rise inside you. A quiet confidence, not arrogance, not excitement, not intensity. Confidence. The kind of confidence that comes from knowing that life is moving for you in ways you don't need to control. The kind of confidence that comes from trusting your imagination more than your circumstances. The kind of confidence that comes from being the person who already has. You don't need to spike your emotions. You don't need to visualize anything. You don't need to hold on to the state. The state is holding on to you. Let that wash through you. Let it become a warm, steady undercurrent. This is your new foundation. The day ahead already responds to the state. Now imagine this softly. You walk into the rest of your day, and without doing anything different, things begin to move. A message arrives, a conversation opens, an idea forms, a solution appears. Something that once felt distant becomes attainable, not because you forced it, not because you worked harder, but because your state shifted. Neville said that your world will always reflect the assumptions you hold within. And right now, your assumption is clear. Money flows to me. Support flows to me. Opportunities flow to me. You don't chase them. You don't worry about them. You don't brace against them. You receive them. Your day will respond accordingly. Hold that awareness and release it gently. Before we continue, a gentle reminder for engagement. If this session has moved you, subscribe to the channel so you don't lose this work. And if you want to support these teachings, hit the thanks button at the end of this video. It truly makes a difference. Now come back, present, receptive, awake. Your nervous system has learned the state. Everything you practiced today wasn't just imagination. It was nervous system training. Your body has learned what it feels like to live from the end. Your emotions have learned what it feels like to exist without financial fear. Your mind has learned what it feels like to release the old identity. And your imagination has learned what it feels like to create from overflow. This isn't temporary. This isn't fragile. This isn't easily undone. Once the nervous system experiences relief, it seeks more of it. Once the imagination experiences completion, it returns to it. Once the identity shifts, it stabilizes. You are no longer the person who fears money. You are the person who receives it. Let that awareness rest in your chest like a slow, warm pulse. Good. You carry the identity forward without effort. Now let yourself hear this in a soft, grounded inner voice. I don't have to try to maintain this. This is who I am now. No pressure, no strain, no maintenance. Identity doesn't need repetition. Identity sustains itself. You've crossed the line between intention and embodiment. You're living from the end, not reaching for it. You're wearing the state instead of chasing it. And because of that, the next 24 hours will not feel like your past. Your responses will be different. Your expectations will be different. Your energy will be different. Reality will follow. Neville said, your assumption though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. But your assumption is no longer false. It's true in imagination, and therefore inevitable in form. Let yourself feel the truth of that. Let it sit quietly behind your thoughts, your final identity anchor. Now take one more gentle breath. On the exhale, let this identity settle into you completely. I keep receiving money now and always. My financial life unfolds easily, abundantly, and predictably. I am the one who receives. Not a mantra, not an affirmation, a recognition. This is who you are now. Hold that tone for a few seconds. Let it sink into the deepest part of you and release the soft landing. You're ready to return to your day, not as the seeker, not as the struggler, not as the one waiting for the breakthrough, but as the one living from it. You've entered the state. You've stabilized it. You've integrated it. You've expanded it. You've anchored it. Everything that comes next unfolds from this identity. You don't need to try. You only need to be, and you are. You are the person who receives easily, frequently, endlessly. You are the person who lives in financial overflow. You are the person whose imagination leads and whose life follows. Take one final gentle breath. Let it settle. Let this chapter close softly. If this session supported you, if you felt the shift rise inside you, and if you want to support the channel's work, tap the thanks button. It truly means more than you know. Now step back into your day as the one who receives.